What up, dudes? It's Gaz, and welcome to another Warframe video. So here we are, the final day, unless DE delays it again, where we will be getting the melee nerfs and gun buff patch notes later today. I want to basically go over some poll results from a poll I created a couple days ago involving melee nerfs and gun buffs, which got a good amount of votes on it and lots of comments as well. I want to go over that because I think it's going to be good to have context on how a lot of people are feeling going into these changes, as 2021 has been a pretty rough year for Warframe, all things considered. If you look at what we've actually got this year, we've pretty much gotten a Corpus Railjack update so far, and we are, about halfway through the 6th month of the year, which, that's halfway through the year. So we're over halfway through the year as far as I'm concerned. We've got a Corpus Railjack update to show for it. There's some Prime Accesses sprinkled in there too, but that's just Prime Access. So we'll be going over the result of basically just reading some player feedback, some player opinions, and all that kind of stuff. So before we get into it, make sure you're subbed to the YouTube channel, and make sure you are also following the live stream channel on the other platform if you want to check that out. Alright, so with some useless gameplay on the screen and just opening some relics. Alright, so here's the poll. I posted it 2 days ago, and we've got 8,000 votes. I consider that a lot of votes, honestly. And the question for the poll was, would you quit Warframe if DE over nerfed melee? So if they nerfed it too much. And I left that kind of open-ended just because saying they over nerfed it can mean very different things to a lot of people. There's people out there that thought Korra getting line of sight removed from her 1 was not a nerf. So people interpret things very differently in life. That's just how it is. So it's open-ended. People can interpret however they want to. Maybe they think removing 1 damage number from melee would be over-nerfing it. Maybe they think that making it where Weeping Wounds is removed from the game, or Blood Rush removed from the game, is over-nerfing it. This is just raw opinions right now, and we're going to go over some of the feedback as well. So the question was, would you quit if they over-nerfed it? 31% of 8,000 people said they would quit the game if DE over-nerfed melee. So they would just quit. And now there's other options too. The other options were, no, I would not quit. There's also the option, it's not really that big of a deal. So the person that's like, I'm not even considering quitting or anything like that, because nerfing melee does not matter to me. And 23% of people that voted have already quit Warframe. They could not take the lack of content, the over nerfs, the knee-jerk reactions, the whatever made them quit. So that's a big chunk of people. I mean, that's over 1,000 people easily that would quit if DE flubs this up, okay? So that's pretty scary for DE. Now, of course, is everyone a paying customer in this free-to-play game? No. I haven't spent money on this game in quite a while, to be honest, which is why I've always said I want them to make Prime Access more appealing to high-end players, where someone like me is actually someone that has more plat than I actually need for the most part. I don't care about the 3 hours of farming it takes to get these new primes. I don't care about 4,000 more plat. I want something interesting, worth my time. And basically all Prime Access gives me is some accessories and maybe some boosters. So that's how I basically feel about it. Let's go over some of the feedback on here and what people were responding with. So we'll just go by top comments, so people that got the most upvotes. We can maybe sprinkle in some newest comments as well in there. So let's start with the first person. Guillen Chavez. Man, I don't really care what they do with melee or guns. If it makes the game more mechanically interesting, then I'm back to playing 8 hours straight. I feel the same way. I also feel like this melee nerf situation kind of stemmed from players saying, I don't feel like guns are good enough on the steel path. And then it turned into, well, we're going to also nerf, D's turned it into, we're going to nerf melee as well. Just like they take feedback and twist it in a disgusting shape sometimes. Like how I said, a lot of this stuff's going to the steel path. I said the steel path is not interesting enough. Bring back some of these. Bring back the Acolyte enemies. Bring back the Nightwatch Napalm enemies. Bring back the Zealot Preloids, whatever they're called. Use these unused unique enemies in the steel path. DE turned that into remove steel essence from Aximus units. Make it only drop from time-gated Acolyte enemies that spawn every 3 to 8 minutes. That's that's taking feedback and turning it into a disgusting pretzel of evil. So no. But I do agree. I want the game to be interesting. I feel like endurance is a joke right now. It should be an accomplishment to hit level 10,000 enemies. Right now, it's just reading an instruction manual. Any chump with the right mods, can do level 10,000 gameplay. It's not. And also, survivability right now is another complete joke. We were talking about this on stream the other day. You don't mod for any survivability when you're doing an endurance run because how cheesy shield gating is. And the fact that certain factions have, like the Grineer are basically just complete babies. They have no anti-cheese methods and things of that nature. So let's not dwell too much on this first response, but I do agree. I want the game to feel more interesting, even for somebody that has literally everything. And people have been saying, oh, you don't have everything mastered. Yeah, I did not level the Prisma Duel to Kyrian, but I have that level up this weekend. And then Fabius says he agrees. I also agree with Fabius. How would over-nerfing melee make the game more mechanically interesting? That's true. This response, he's one of those people that says it's not really a big deal. It does not exactly answer the question, but this is like, we're just having a discussion right now. He's right, though. This is not really about gun melees. Why? And then Fabio responds to Dablo is shot, 77. Why would you use guns if it takes 7 times more than melee to kill a high-level enemy? Balance. It's true. I mean, you can use guns for high-level enemies, but you know, there's a multifaceted issue here. I'd say they need to make endurance actually matter, and also make endurance more difficult. Next person, Atix Engar, I guess. It wouldn't really affect me because it's been a long time since I used melee as an actual weapon instead of stat sticks. But I hope they don't pull the usual DE move by making them borderline unusable. That's true. I also, like, here's my usual gameplay loop. I'll basically sign on, I'll do like a 30-minute survival to max out my Syndicate rep and get some Steel Essence, with like using Korra or whatever, because it's really easy and chill, and I'll just sign off. That's what when I'm not streaming and not like making videos, that's what my usual gameplay loop is in Warframe. I'll do Kuva Floods here and there, open a couple relics, because I don't have that much time to play anymore. So yes, I hope they don't make like really slow melee weapons unusable, because that would be like extremely unfortunate. But I could see it happening, honestly. Alright, so let's move on to the next one. We got Dasha, Dashavian. Rebecca said minor nerfs, but I'm just trying to be optimistic here. And then Nico responds, Blood Rush mod removed. It's just one mod, right? It must be minor, since it's just one mod. Also, the set bonus that does the same reworked. It was minor, right? One mod and one set bonus. I mean, we don't know what it's going to be. They could say minor nerfs and just remove one mod. You know, they basically removed Maiming Strike from the game when they balanced that. So, you know, we'll have to see. Like I said, this is just like getting people's opinions and stuff. Let's move on a little bit faster here. I only use secondaries and primaries. My melee is there for when I can't reload or time or stuff hits the fan. So, I mean, this guy, Shadow, he probably doesn't really like go for endurance runs. Not that there's any real reason to, since the Eximus don't drop Steel Essence anymore, which basically murdered Steel Path Endurance. But yes, I do hope that, you know, they make endurance actually worth it eventually, because what else is there to do? We got Prelog Vlad here. Now here's his response. Honestly, I've been around so many periods of nerfs when it felt like the game was dying. Honestly, none of them matter. They can never balance 600 weapons. They can nerf melee. There will always be ability buffs that will break a weapon. They nerf primaries and melees. There will always be abilities. At the end of the day, you don't need weapons to do level 10,000 enemies. We need them to work well versus level 150. Very few players have ever seen such enemies. And P.S. If they nerf the damage of all abilities and weapons, will we go back to Vauban, Loki, CC meta, CC Hell, and all the nerfs won't mean anything. He's right. No matter what happens, we will find a way to do things properly. But something you need to keep in mind, Paralog, is that if we go to a CC meta, we will be getting less loot, because you need to kill an enemy in this game to get loot. Because that's a big part of it. Enemy drops endo, enemy drops a mod. I can turn that drop mod into more endo, making me, you know, max out my mods. And like, to what end are you getting this stuff? Well, to max out your inventory, to sell items to other players. So a CC, Vauban, Loki, Nova meta would be terrible, in my opinion. Let's read a couple of these responses here. But he's right, though. If they do nerf it, we'll find a new way. And like, honestly, we have armor removal and like nuking abilities, so it won't be too big of a deal. Moving on to Re. I mean, I think I would be fine if they overbuff guns in place of melee. That sounds very hopeful, and I agree. I mean, as long as something is feeling power, it's a power fantasy game, honestly. Like, if I'm feeling weak compared to before, that's where our problem lies. Also, I feel like we need, if they're going to be going all gung-ho with these nerfs, we need to have some content that matters. That's my biggest point, is that I feel like nerfs without content that matters is just nerfing for no reason. Because, like, what is it? Like I just said with Pure Log, if we get nerfed, our damage gets nerfed really hard, well, we're just going to CC the enemies. Like, I mean, to what end does this stuff even matter? I'm just getting drops that are, like, not even super important. I have maxed out resources, basically. I got, like, 500,000 endo. I got every mod in the game, basically. What am I even doing right here? I'm maxing out more mods to sell to other players? Like, they need to make something that's actually... We're 8 years into this game. We have no end game. So, yeah. Then I have a reason to use exalted abilities, but I wish they just buff them directly. Yeah, a lot of people do think that exalted melees aren't as good as normal melees, because it's kind of true. I'm sad that arc guns and arc melees will fall behind. We don't actually know that, Rockstar Foxy, but, maybe. Okay, we'll read like 3 more responses here, okay? Honestly, the game was dead for me for years. Could not even bother to log in for a while. The only reason I came back during Deimos is from an outside source. Talk about some game that released, and I just could not miss the opportunity to roleplay with... I have no idea who this guy's saying. After a month, even that fizzled out. While the song is played on repeat whenever the need to recharge my batteries, the nerfs only hurt the ones that are still playing the game for real. The reasons I choose to follow the game since beta are long gone buried. Honestly, this guy's hammering home a point I really have been feeling a lot lately, is that DE is removing everything I find fun in this game. They're removing... Rivens have 0.5 dispo off the bat now. They're going to potentially make melee weaker. Prime Access comes out with potentially like lower stats, or like overall less powerful than a normal Rivened up weapon. I really feel like the game wouldn't be around right now if Rivens didn't exist. A lot of people find that controversial opinion, but think about it. A lot of the loot in this game is one and done. Like I said, like, you could get some more endo to max out mods, but, I maxed out Ion Burn. I never need to get an Ion Burn again. I have 132 of these. Drops like this don't matter. These are just extra endo to, like, you can dissolve it into endo. 660 endo. Whoop-de-frickin' do. These right here, these Riven mods, these are eternal loot. Like, this is like, I can keep rolling it. I don't want that negative fire rate, negative. I want these stats, but with a better negative. I want a better Amphis stat stick Riven. So this stuff right here is actual loot. Things like rejuvenation. This is not actual loot. This is a mod that makes your build do something different. And once you get it, you have it forever, unless you delete it for some reason. This game needs more loot like that. Even arcanes, those things that drop from those annoying Eidolon fights, those are also one and done. I have Arcane Arachne. I never needed a second Arcane Arachne, unless I want to sell it to somebody for some plat. And I think this game has a loot issue as well. I think that's enough complaining about today. I mean, let's look at like 1 or 2 more responses before we call it. Let's sort by newest as well. All right, so we went over a couple of the top voted responses. Let's look at like the 3 newest comments. This Magpie says, depends how extreme we're talking here. If they rendered completely unusable, by my playtime will drop to near quitting, probably, at least for a while. It's harsh and unusable nerf. We'll have to see about that. Feels so good playing Deep Rock Galactic. F Warframe going on 106 days off. I mean, let me just look at my friends list right now, honestly. I thought last year was pretty bad, and of course, it's like, you can say it's a pandemic and all that, but like, there really has not been much stuff going on. So sort by last logged in. How do you look? I haven't looked at this new friends list. Oh, here we go. So we got this guy, almost 1,000 days. We got a lot of people at like 2 years. That's like about 10 people at 2 years. And I mean, there's lots in like the 400, 300 range. So I feel like a lot of people's friends lists are very similar to this. So DE really needs to get some content out. They need to make an end game, or the melee nerfs will be the least of their worries. Where, we have no like, what, do they just want people to like just like drool while going through the star chart, like, oh, I beat Earth, time to go to Mars, I beat Mars, time to go to Ceres. Alright, I beat the story quest, what do I do now? Oh, I'm bored, I'm gonna go play something else. That's what I feel like a lot of people are gonna be like. Is that the player DE wants? Or does DE want a long-term player? Actually, we'll have another video on that in the future. Depending how bad these nerfs are, I might unleash the actual theories of why DE wants us to be bad at the game and how that actually is good for them. The worse we are, the better it is for them. Either way, guys, I'll talk to you next time. See you later for those melee nerfs and gun buffs, hopefully. And hopefully you found this video interesting at least. I'll talk to you next time. Peace.